I actually think for India right now, for the next 10 years, core infrastructure should be the priority. We need to prioritize economic growth above everything else, is my own personal view. And that's where we'll get the highest ROI as a country. India needs to grow at 8% a year. And I think Lant Pritchett has this paper, which some of you may have seen, which shows that, per capita income and HDI, there's like a zero 0.9 R squared, like a huge correlation. So as your per capita income goes up, automatically your education, health improves because you can spend more money, etc. So I think at this stage as a country, this is top priority. I also feel it's important because frankly, just more money into things like education, capex, is not going to necessarily improve learning outcomes. And the amount required for very basic small improvement is actually quite small. Take Uttar Pradesh, which is doing a very good job in improving school infrastructure. The Chief Minister launched something called Kaya Kalp, which is they're spending 14,000 crore. It's a convergence program where I think the state's outlay is maybe just 50% or more of that, maybe 9,000 crore over 3 years. So only 3,000 crore. The state spends about 80,000 crore on education, which is largely on teacher salaries. So what is required in capex is actually tiny compared to what the operational expenditures. Mr. Sinha was saying we only spend 1 lakh crore in education. That's true, but that's from the center. If you add up center plus state, we actually spend about 7 lakh crore on education. So we're spending 3% of GDP. It's mostly again on salaries and on current expenditure. It's not on capital expenditure. I would argue if you take an area like education, which maybe I know better than health, I think what we eventually need as a country is we need to have better, larger schools. Our school system is too fragmented. We have too many small schools. And that's where the capital expenditure should go. I mean, the PM Shri schools is an example of that. Some states also have these model schools. That's an example of that. Again, as an order of magnitude, the capex required for that is a tiny fraction of the 10 lakh crore. So my own belief is, if you're going to spend 10 lakh crore this year and maybe 5 years from now, you're going to spend 20 lakh crore or 18 lakh crore, 17 lakh crore. Frankly, social infrastructure needs a small fraction of that because the capex is not going to make the difference to outcomes. And so we'd rather put the money into hard assets that actually drive economic growth at this stage of development.